The following segments are pre-recorded and sponsored by Longworth Productions.
Homeownership on Triad Today. Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you once again from the beautiful Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. We'll tell you more about them later on, and later on is when the roundtable shows up and we'll get into all sorts of controversial topics, so stay tuned for that. Between now and then, some great guests, important information coming your way, including a discussion about urinary incontinence. We'll also talk about homeownership and much more. Where we want to start, though, is talking about a really good story with my good friend. Hank Henning is here. He's a manager of local government community relations for Duke Energy. Hank brought along a special guest, Anna Wheeler, North Carolina program coordinator for the Dan River Basin Association. Good to see you all.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having us again, Jim.
And Hank, thanks for bringing her along. First, let me ask you, just to sort of break the ice here, in what ways is Duke Energy and your foundation, what do they do to sort of help support nonprofits?
Yeah, so it's a great question, Jim. So in addition to being the local power provider for clean, affordable, and reliable energy, we also like to give back to our communities. That means being good partners. And so one of the ways that we do that is through the Duke Energy Foundation. And it gives us a great opportunity to partner with groups like the Dan River Basin Association. And we invited Anna Wheeler, who's the North Carolina Regional Director, to join us to talk about some of the grants we provided through them to partner with them.
All right, so now let's turn to your association. Tell us what the mission is. What do you all do?
Yeah. So the Dan River Basin Association protects and promotes the Dan River Basin through recreation, education, and stewardship. It covers 3,300 square miles, 16 counties, and we are a bi-state organization. So we are in Virginia and North Carolina because rivers do not know what a state line is.
No, at least they haven't yet.
No.
They may soon, and then the General Assembly will figure out a way. Never mind. Yep. All right, let's talk about some of the specific programs that you're involved in. I'm going to list a couple of things, and you tell me, because you sent me an email about this. Water safety classes. Tell me about that.
Yes, so we are, because water safety is really important for Dan River Basin Association, we love to see people outdoors hiking and paddling. We want to make sure people are doing it safely, so we have managed to get a grant to host 6 water safety classes with an ACA instructor throughout the North Carolina region of the Dan River Basin.
Yeah, we want people to have fun on the rivers, but they got to be safe in doing it.
Definitely.
Tell me about training for water monitors.
Yes, so Dan River Basin Association has our own citizens water quality monitoring training. Less than 1% of all waters in the United States are actually tested through state organizations, so we're doing it in-house. And so we're expanding our North Carolina water monitoring training here.
And very quickly, you said something to me off camera about butterfly garden.
Yes. So we are lucky to also have 2 pollinator gardens going in at the City of Eden along one of their trails for pollinator-friendly gardens because, as you might know, lots of pollinator habitat actually gets mowed down.
Right. Now, how has your group and what you're doing benefited the public, do you think?
We definitely work to promote recreation so that people can get on the river, go hike. We build river accesses, build trails for people. We also host for Saturday outings. We educate the public about these things. We go into classrooms, teach people all about these important issues, and then hopefully they become stewards of their land. How
important is support from Duke Energy and the foundation to helping to sustain your mission?
Right. Grants are really important to completing projects for us. While we are a member-based organization, a lot of our projects come from grant funding, so we really appreciate doing
all this is very consistent with what you and our friend Jimmy and all the folks at Duke Energy do. I mean, this fits right in, right?
Absolutely, and tourism is so important to the local economy up there and getting people out and enjoying nature. And it's just a great, easy, simple way for us to give back.
Yeah, good for everybody, good for the environment and everything else. I'm going to put something up on the screen. danriver.org is the website. Find out more information about what we were talking about with Anna. And, of course, you can go to the general website, duke-energy.com, for all sorts of information about services and programs going on. And I just appreciate what both of you are doing collectively and, as a corporation, but Anna, for all that you're doing. And I guess you need volunteers from time to time?
Always, yes. We're always looking for volunteers. Yeah.
So they can find out about that on your website, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
We'll be right back after this.
The world's brightest are Fulbrights, Goldwaters, McNairs, and Spartans. Prestigious doesn't have to be expensive. UNCG. Find your way here.
Back now on Triad Today, and with my good friend here, Dr. John Smith. He's going to allow me to call him Jack for this segment, and he can call me Sir. And he's a urologist and director of pelvic health for Novant Health Pelvic Health Center. Good to see you, Doc.
Nice to see you.
Let's talk about urinary incontinence. I know it's not something that's pleasant. A lot of us go through it. Give me a quick definition.
It's the involuntary loss of urine.
Okay. And now, how common is this? And is it common for men and women?
So it's much more common in women than it is in men. About 30 million women have some element of incontinence in their lifetime, and probably about 5 to 7 million men in their lifetime.
Does it have, we didn't rehearse this or anything, but does it happen to women a lot after childbearing or what?
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, much more common after childbearing, after having a hysterectomy, and somewhat, although it's not directly related to age, it's more common in later years.
Bonnie sent me an email one day about something that I didn't realize. It said, a lot of men will have this problem, but they may not necessarily go get it checked out. And what is that all about?
We are not, as men, as well versed in our health as women, I believe, in this country. And we wait till something hurts before we will bring it to our attention. And as a result, a lot of fellas think that they have to have some kind of pain before they have to seek attention.
Right.
If they have incontinence episodes, there's a bit of fear, there's a hope that it's going to go away, these kinds of things. And it's only when it really persists that they'll seek out a urologist like myself or the Pelvic Health Center for some help.
Jack, is a lot of this related to age? I've heard somebody say, well, you get to a certain age, and like I'm 70, so well, it's going to happen when you get to a certain age, just plan on it.
I think ageism's not a great idea. Incontinence, I want you to think of it more of as a symptom. It's really like a cough. If someone has a cough, you don't know if they have pneumonia, an allergy, a runny nose, or a reflux. Well, incontinence is the same thing. It's a symptom of something else. Their bladder's leaking, their prostate's too big, or they've had a prostate surgery. And in women, as we said before, after childbearing, after hysterectomies, that's when incontinence occurs.
What kind of treatment options are available once you've had this diagnosed, you've gone to the urologist, you've gone to see you guys, you know you have it, what happens?
Well, sticking with men for today, there's medications that can be used for incontinence of a certain type. I would say the key in the door, and what I mean by that is you drive home, you should have gone to the bathroom at the restaurant, you get to the front door, put the key in, and now all of a sudden, all of us have had this, you got to hustle to the bathroom. Right. There are people where that happens to them every single day, multiple times during the day. And that can be dealt with medication. Behavioral therapies, watching what you drink, how much fluid you drink, what time you stop at night. That'll control how many times someone gets up at night, which can be irritative in terms of leakage as well.
So, suppose a man that has prostate cancer, has prostate removed, are there different ways of helping him at that point with incontinence?
Great question. So incontinence after types of prostate surgery, you go from very conservative, exercises, diapers, clamps, to surgical options. And those surgical options historically have been hammocks or slings, which frankly don't work very well. Artificial urinary sphincter, which is a very complex operation. And frankly, there's probably 6 or 8 of us in the state that know how to do that operation.
Right.
And then finally, a device that was called ProAct that that I've worked with a company for a number of years now, almost 10 years, to use. And this device is placed just under the skin, and these 2 silicone balloons are put outside the neck of the prostate, where the prostate was, where the bladder is now, and they compress the channel to give the patient their control back.
And then you're not incontinent.
Correct.
I think that's just fascinating. I want to put something up on screen before we go too long here, novonthealth.org/services/urology, or you can call, correct me if I'm wrong on this, 718-1970. I think it's a good number.
That's correct.
To get to you guys. And I really hope you'll come back. I have some other questions and some topics we want to cover, so you come back sometime?
Absolutely. I'd love to.
All right, Doc.
Appreciate you.
We'll be right back after this. Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you that Triad Today is now streaming on WFMY Plus, available free on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. Back now on Triad Today, let's talk about home ownership and all sorts of good things, and we do that with a good gal who's with us. First-time visitor to the show, Sharon Thomas, Housing Director for Financial Pathways of the Piedmont. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And like me, grew up in Winston-Salem, so
That's right.
What is just quickly before we get going, how would you say the mission of the organization is? How would you?
Okay, the mission of Financial Pathways of the Piedmont is we help people build financial well-being.
Okay, now what about the Center for Home Ownership that you emailed me about? What is that all about specifically?
Okay, the Center for Home Ownership is a program of Financial Pathways of the Piedmont, and we work with first-time home buyers that's interested in home ownership, and we work with them to overcome barriers to home ownership.
Give me an example. We didn't rehearse this, but I mean, give me an example of a barrier, like.
Okay, credit.
So they could have bad credit, let's say.
They sure can. They don't have to have good credit to take advantage of our services. We work with anyone that's interested in home ownership. It's no income limit. If you're interested in home ownership, we will work with you until you purchase.
Give me some examples of specific kinds of services, specific kinds of ways that you help people when you meet with them. Give me some examples.
Okay, we'll assist clients with our pre-purchase counseling, and it's one-on-one. They'll meet with one of our HUD certified counselors in the office. They will review their credit report, finances, and their budget, and we create an action plan to help them become mortgage ready. And that's how we address any issues, whether it's credit, savings, collections, if they need to pay off some collections. So we address all barriers to home ownership.
Help them figure out, okay, here you got this much income coming in, let's figure these things out. And then you sort of help them figure out what kind of home maybe they can afford. Or
We sure do. We do an affordability analysis and make sure, they purchase a home that's affordable. And we do partner with lenders and realtors in the community that's familiar with our services and can also guide them through that process.
Let's talk about some of the housing issues that we face in our community, just in general, not for any specific client, but just in general. What are we facing?
Some of the housing issues that we face is affordability as well as availability. We don't have a lot of homes on the market in affordable price range. However, we do address that issue by providing down payment assistance for our clients, and they make homeownership more affordable for them.
Be able to put some money down and get in there and be a homeowner. What are the benefits to somebody working with you on this? I mean, what would you say is the greatest benefit to them?
Well, the greatest benefit is with our first-time home buyers, they need some hand-holding. So that's what we do. We assist them in the home buying process. And one of the benefits is we guide them through the process until they purchase a home. And some of the other benefits, like I said, we help them overcome the barriers to home ownership. We provide down payment assistance. And we help guide them through that process. And education. We offer a home buyer education workshop to educate them about the home buying process, as well as a home maintenance workshop because of
that's good because you don't just get in there and say, okay, I'm home free. You've got stuff you got to consider, things that got to be fixed or upkeep and that kind of thing. I think you mentioned a minute ago something about partners that you work with. What would be an example of a partner that you work with?
Well, actually, we work with the city and county. They provide down payment assistance as well. We work with all of the housing programs, service programs.
Right.
We work with realtors and lenders. We work with Habitat as well, the IDA program. So we work with all the housing.
It's the whole community coming together, isn't it?
Because it take a team for us to actually get our homeowners to purchase a home. So
Absolutely.
it take a team to help do that for them.
We didn't rehearse this, but I'm just curious, since you and I just met, what's gratifying to you about what you do in your job? What do you get from it?
You know what? The most exciting part is when somebody get their keys in their hand and get to closing. They are so excited, the family, and it's the single most single most highest investment they would make.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Out of
People might
everything
buy
you
a car sometimes,
exactly.
but you go into a home and you're the whole different
That's going to
thing.
be the most
You
expensive.
get a lot out of that, don't you?
That's right. It's an asset too.
Yeah.
So we really enjoy it. It's just so exciting when that person say, "I'm closing this tunnel."
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I can see it in your face. You like it. Up on screen, financialpaths.org is where you can get more information, financialpaths.org. Sharon, I just want to thank you on behalf of all the people you have helped, the people that you will help. Thanks for being there for folks.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on the show.
All right.
Okay.
We'll be right back after this.
North Carolina's economy is growing, bringing new businesses and opportunities. The need for electricity is growing too. At Duke Energy, we're meeting the challenge, providing even more electricity that's cleaner, reliable, and that stays affordable. We're getting out of coal and reinvesting in our communities with a diverse, balanced mix of energy sources and making targeted upgrades to the grid so that North Carolina can thrive in a smarter energy future.
Back now on Triad Today, time to talk with Mr. Theater. He's not going to be Mr. Theater. He'll always be Mr. Theater, although he's retired from the High Point Theater. Dave Bray's, good to see you.
Good to see you, Jim.
Before we get into some shows I want to learn about, first, let's just remind folks, because you'll frequently say things like, well, Jim, our new season features,
Right.
When does a season start at High Point Theater?
Well, the season starts when I say it starts. I'm kidding, of course. So usually our season runs really from August through May. In this current next year, the 24-25 season, right now it's only going to be August through about the middle of January.
Okay.
Because we have so many other rental events going on.
Right.
And so in terms of buying packages of tickets, not all of our shows are actually on sale at the same time anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We rolled them out more on a different basis. So a December show might not roll out until mid-September.
So we just have to keep an eye on the website, and which I'll give later, but certainly people can buy tickets to shows that have come up in August.
Certainly. And if they reach out to the box office and they say, hey, but I really want to get tickets to John Barry and Christmas Carol and Nutcracker, we can sell those.
Okay.
But they're not officially on sale yet.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about some shows coming up as we look down the calendar. First, Saturday, August 10th is Lee Greenwood.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have Lee with us. In fact, this past weekend, he celebrated the release of the 40th anniversary of God Bless the USA. And that's really the focus of this particular concert. And we're delighted to have Lee with us. I presented Lee back in, I guess it was 1987 or 88.
Way back, yeah.
Way back. And what a nice guy and a great...
Where did you have him then?
At Lenore-Ryan College, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Now university.
Yeah, university. Yeah. All right. Now, on Saturday, August 12th, you emailed me and said, let's talk about Herman's Hermits. Now, for the kids that don't know, back in the 60s, they were pretty popular. But now what is this all about?
So that's October 12th.
That's
not August.
October 12th.
October 12th. So Peter Noon is really kind of the leading person in the British invasion. So Mrs. Brown, you've got a lovely daughter. I'm Henry VIII, I am. And he had so many hits. What's really neat about Peter is that he hasn't lost his voice. He wasn't one of those screaming British rockers.
Right.
And he's just remarkable.
Yeah, he came along sort of, there was the Beatles and the Dave Clark Five,
Exactly.
and the Herman's Hermits and all this kind of stuff. Saturday, October 19th, I think I got that straight.
Yes.
Kelly Swanson. Now, remind me who Kelly Swanson is and what that's all about.
So Kelly is a very popular speaker. She's a humorous speaker and so on. And we did a show with her in January of 2020 called Who Hijacked My Fairy Tale. It was the world premiere, and the show has gone out. She's done a lot of that. Now she's got a new project coming up, and it's called Pride's Hollow, and it's Southern Fried Rumors. And it's going to be so much fun. She's inspirational. She's funny. She weaves a storyline together as no one else does. And we're really proud to be world premiering this show as well.
Right, and the whole family can enjoy that.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Always want to check on that. 'Cause
No,
sometimes
that's
you
a
never know.
family event.
Saturday, November 2nd, Will Downing.
Will Downing is the Prince of Sophisticated Soul, and we've had Will with us before, and always delighted to have him come in. He and his band they're remarkable, and they please everyone. I'm looking forward to having Will back with us.
How would you describe his music to somebody that doesn't know?
It's kind of R&B, jazz mix, and soul music.
Okay.
And he really speaks to your heart. He's got a great story to tell.
Very
as well.
popular. Up on screen, the website I promised to show, and I love this website, highpointtheater.com. Highpointtheater.com. Remember to type in 2 G's there, highpointtheater.com, with all sorts of details about these shows. And then we mentioned tickets. Be sure to call the box office, 887-3001, and you can buy advance tickets. You can even buy Christmas gifts for
You
people,
can, absolutely, and birthday presents.
You can buy me one for my birthday.
I might just do that.
You might do it. All right, and I'll tell you something else you can do. Would you like to stay around from the round table?
I'll be happy to.
All right. We'll be right back after this. Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you to catch my column Longworth at Large and Yes Weekly every week. It's available throughout the Triad, or you can go online, yesweekly.com. Back now on Triad Today, just about time for the roundtable, with a quick shout out to the good folks here at Cedar Botanical Garden. It's beautiful here. You can come see it. You can rent the facility for things. They have classes, photography and gardening, all sorts of stuff. They even have the roundtable here once a week. And here we are. On my right, but always political left, Ogie Overman. And we held over Dave Briggs, Mr. Theater, from the last segment, and Keith Granberry, founder of Helping Hands Consultants. All right, guys. Just when we thought we'd heard the last about removing Confederate monuments, comes a controversy from Terrell County in the eastern part of our state. That's where some residents want a 1902 monument removed from in front of the courthouse because the inscription says, are you ready for this, quote, in appreciation of our faithful slaves. In their lawsuit, the group claims by allowing the monument to stand, the county is inciting racial hostility. Here's my question, guys. Slavery was wrong, but what's wrong with honoring slaves? Ogie.
That's not honoring, that's degrading. I mean, please. That's like saying, we appreciate the slaves who stayed with us and didn't go join the Underground Railroad and try to escape. You can't.
So you ought to go down.
You can't justify slavery.
All right, Dave.
I have a real challenge, a real problem with monuments being removed in general. Maybe they need to put a plaque over that. I don't know. They didn't really talk about the fact that there's a Confederate soldier on the top of it.
Right. They're upset about the inscription.
And maybe they need to monetize it for tourism.
All right, Keith.
I don't want to go anywhere where they got Confederate soldier statues up. I have a problem with them still being there. And I have a problem with the word faithful slave. You weren't a faithful slave. You don't want to be a slave.
No.
You were made to be a slave. So how can you be a faithful slave?
That's the word, enslaved.
That doesn't make sense to me.
In a controversial move, the UNC Board of Governors is eliminating diversity, equity, and inclusion funding for those programs. Instead, they're going to use the money for public safety and policing. Good move or bad move, guys?
Is that really necessary? Can't you do both? I mean, really?
Well, apparently they think not. Dave?
Well, I think they create departments, and this is a department for every college has one, every university system has one now. Really, we have the civil rights movement that went through. We have Title IX. We have a lot of different laws on the books that already cover many of the things that these groups are
All right, they want to put the money into public safety.
But Keith is going to know more about this than
I am. I think, number one, that if you look at throughout diversity in these inclusion programs, black people and brown people are at the low end of the totem pole for all contracts, all things like that. So, I mean, you still need these programs so that you can allow other people to benefit from the great American society that we have. You can't take away something when you're still at the bottom and say it's here now because it's not equal.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not equal.
I agree, and it sort of surprised me that the UNC system even did that.
I'm shocked.
All right, the state of Florida is suing the Biden administration over a new federal law that forces doctors to provide gender transition care. Under the Biden law, doctors who refuse such care will be facing heavy penalties. Now, are you guys okay with physicians being forced to, as an example, performing transition surgeries on underage kids? Because it could come to that. Ogie.
That's a tough one, Jim. You know I'm an equality guy. I think I have a little bit of a problem with forcing physicians against their will to do something.
Dave.
I agree. I don't want them to be forcing physicians to do any types of surgery that they aren't morally feel comfortable with.
Gee.
Man, I don't think that physicians should be forced to do any gender surgery. I just think that's just going way too far.
All right, the Federal Trade Commission recently banned nearly all non-compete agreements. This will now free up some 30 million Americans to seek a job with a company that directly competes with their current employer. Are you okay with banning these agreements, or do you think some companies are going to sue and appeal this, Ogie?
I'm okay with it, but you know they're going to appeal it because some of these people are going to walk away with intellectual property and take it to another competitor.
Right.
And that's going to be a big fight.
I think it is too, Dave.
I agree wholeheartedly with what Gogi just said. You've got all these people that do have this intellectual property they take with them, and they can build up their clientele. They can take their client list with them as well.
Right. Ad agencies have them. Broadcast TV stations have them. Radio. You know, Keith, what do you think about getting rid of these non-compete agreements?
I think it's terrible. You cannot go into a company, take their intellectual property, and then go somewhere else. It's their intellectual property. They created it. Now you're going to take it and sell it to a higher bidder, or take it and use it for your benefit. Nah, that's
just like I wouldn't want you going to another TV show, Keith, and taking what I've,
what you've taught me.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and I believe that you've taught me so much. You really have.
Yeah. We won't go into
what you've taught me, but you've taught me so much.
Something.
So many things.
Meanwhile, a Kentucky congressman wants to abolish the Federal Reserve, which he says is responsible for a high rate of inflation. Quickly, guys. Good, bad, or good idea, bad idea?
I have no idea what that guy's talking about.
All right, Dave.
The Federal Reserve does need to be reined in, but he better watch his back.
Yeah, Keith.
Man, Kentucky's good for the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, all right.
What are we talking about? The Reserve?
No,
really? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Finally,
the Wildcats.
Finally, a new poll says that 15% of Americans who normally do not vote would show up to vote for president if Taylor Swift directly asked them to support a particular candidate. Guys, would you do whatever Taylor Swift asks you to do, Ogie?
Well, in this case, yes, I was going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
But if she, and I think she will.
Come out
I think she'll start campaigning.
Dave, would you do whatever Taylor Swift tells you?
Not no, but hell no.
You can't cuss on this shit. So.
He just did.
Keith, would you do?
That's what happens when you retire. You just do whatever you want to do. Hey, what the heck?
Would you do whatever?
I love Taylor Swift. I'm playing her right now on my playlist.
All right.
Absolutely.
So you would do whatever she wants.
I would do whatever Taylor Swift asks me to do.
That's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. Scientists in Australia have been studying octopuses. You can say octopi or octopuses, and they've now determined that octopuses who get mad at other octopuses will dig up mud and throw it at them. Kind of like congressmen. All right, that's all the time we have here. We're going to Kentucky. I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.